Hey guys, this is Ben here with Team WUNAX, here to give you guys a deck profile for the new format. As you can probably see already, looking to be a Mermail Atlantean deck profile. This is something I kind of wanted to show off. Obviously, I don't think this deck is quite as powerful as the Mitsurugi decks or the Malice deck, but I think it's a really good option if you don't have a way to get one of those decks. The deck has a lot going for it. It's a really powerful going first deck, and being able to play Impulse is a really big bonus in this format. And so this is something I've been kind of tinkering with recently and have had a lot of success with at the local level, and I'm looking forward to being able to take it to a regional, hopefully soon, to share with you guys some of the results. But for now, I just kind of want to show you guys my findings and what I've found in the deck, and hopefully you guys can just take it and run with it. And yeah, if this video gets enough likes or interest, I'm willing to put out a combo video. There's a lot of streamlined combos on the internet, I feel like, right now for like this deck particularly, just like spreadsheet combos, but I think there's a lot more intricate combos, like through hand traps or like through like floodgates, whatever else, that I think a lot of people haven't been sharing, and so that's something I would like to share about with the deck. So if you guys show enough interest in this video, I would love to be able to do a video like that for you guys. But with that being said, let's get started with the deck profile. So for starters, 3 Prince. It's the best starter of the deck. I mean, it's just such a good card. It kind of is what makes the deck go, realistically. And I feel like when you just summon this card going first, no matter what hand trap your opponent has, they kind of just feel helpless. You just feel like you're in a position to win the game almost every time you start with this card. So, love them to death. And then next we have 3 Dragoons. Again, another card that just kind of is what makes the deck function. It's an older card, so it doesn't say once per turn, which is fantastic. We love that in this deck. So yeah, it's just a great card. What makes the deck work. Next, we have 3 Abyss Shrine. I think 3 has kind of become the new standard. 2 used to be a little bit more normal, but I think 3 is just definitely correct in this deck because she is really what allows you to beat Droll, which is really popular in this format. And so for me, every time I use this as my first search, I usually know I'm in a position to win the game. And if I can search this and they don't Droll me, I still feel like I'm going to get to this regardless and have a good position, be in a good position to win the game. So overall, she's just a great card. And again, her and then as well as Shadow Squad, being both Mermail and Atlantean cards is just really, really powerful. And again, it just kind of just adds what this deck really needed for a really long time. Again, this card is just as good as Abyss Shrine, if not better. Recruits almost any of your names from your deck when he's sent, and then also just making all your guys level 7 just makes the combos like really, really good. So, and then we go with 3 Abysseus. I think 3 Abysseus is probably correct. There is a world that I've thought about playing 2 of this card because he can be clunky and he's only really good in the 2 card combos. But again, this deck does have consistency issues at times, and so for me, I think 3 is probably correct with this. Going second a lot of the time, I will side out the 3rd copy. Because your 6 draw does help with consistency quite a bit, and again, he's only really good in 2 card combos. But I think 3 is just probably fine, realistically. And then the more kind of debatable one of the deck, I think this is probably one of the more debatable cards as far as ratios go, is 3 Poseidra. I think a lot of people play 2 right now, but for me, I think 3 is just correct. It's just 2 could have hard going second. Plays really good into specifically the Rizio boards. It's okay in the Malice, but really the Rizio boards is where it really shines when they make half boards. This card just decimates Detonator. And again, it just plays in the board so well, really into anything. And even going first, there's just a lot of times too where like this plus like another water can actually like help your hands go, even if it is awkward. Like just allowing you to be able to play the game at all, I think is really important for this deck. And so for me, he's just great. So. And then 2 Abyss Spike. You don't need more than 2. You don't want to clog on this deck with too many normal summons. And again, like, you don't need more fish targets for your coelacanth either. So, like, 2 is just, like, the perfect number. And, like, now that you don't make Bahamut in this deck anymore, having additional level 4s isn't quite as important. So, like, 2 is probably, like, just the correct number because you need 2 for the combos. There's a world you can play 1, but if you draw the 1, now your combos are just, like, ruined. So, I think playing 1 or 2 is probably just fine. And then 1 Heavy Infantry. Very essential end board piece for all your boards, really. If you go full combo, he's a very important interaction. If you go half boards, he's a good interaction. Like, this card just kind of does everything, and he, like, doubles as a board breaker a lot of time, which is great. So, yeah, I love this card. And then for, like, other one-ofs, we have Minstrel and Bear Statue. These are the toxic cards of the deck. They kind of are what make the deck go. It's really what makes the deck competitive still, in my opinion. this card is just really unfair. If any other deck had this card, it would be kind of absurd. But she's in here, so yeah, she's a great card. And then the barrier statue obviously is like the key piece of the end board for this deck a lot of the time, and so because of that, you have to play the card. And then we have Molten Glacier in the main deck. So I know some people have started side decking this card, including myself. I actually tested in the side deck for a really long time, but for me, I feel like sometimes this card is just very high impact. It just basically seals the deal for you a lot of the time, and so for me, I think the card's really good. I understand drawing it going second can be kind of rough, but game one, I feel like this card's like can really be the difference between your opponent immediately scooping the game and thinking like, oh, if I top deck this one card, I might have a chance. So I don't know. I like this card a lot. It just seals games, I guess. Is kind of where I'm at with it. And then we have one coelacanth as well as the other two fish, the gluttonous and the butterfly fish. These are basically the best fish targets you can play with the coelacanth. I mean, this card I would imagine is probably going to be in like every Mermail list going forward. It's just that good of a card. And then the butterfly fish, there's an argument that you could play, I cannot remember his name right now, but there's like another fish that's like an eel that basically you banish it from the graveyard to negate an attack, which is cool, but like I feel like if you know how to play this deck properly, this one's more important, and this one is better like extending through hand traps a lot of the time. And he's a lot better to hard draw because there are a lot of times like you'll just send him with like an Abystius or whatever else, and then you just add him back to your hand. Like he just generates card advantage, which is something that this deck can struggle with a lot of time. And so for me, I really like Butterfly Fish. He's great. So and then for the spells, we'll go Prosperity and Win for One. These are just consistency cards. Again, this is just another copy of the Prince, and then like this. Basically, there's a lot of hands where like you'll draw like one water name, and you're like, oh man, if I just had like one other good water in my hand, like the hand would be like, you know, unstoppable. And so Prosperity is usually like the piece you need to make that happen. And so Prosperity is really good for that reason for this deck. There was a world I was playing Call By and Talons in this deck in the main for a while, but I think the problem is because the specific list plays over 40, you're less likely to see those cards in your opening hand. And for me, I would like to play closer to 40, realistically, just because this deck does have consistency issues. And so I think Call By and Talons are really good when you side them going first, but they become a lot weaker going second in this format. And so for me, I would rather side deck those cards, especially like, it's not like something like Molten Glacier where like they're water cards, right? So you can always like just discard them worst case. Like they just kind of do nothing in your hand by themselves to add consistency. So, and then for hand traps, we have 3 Fuas and 3 Perulias. Very important cards for this deck. Obviously, this deck thrives on card advantage, and so if I can make my opponent end on half wards and gather card advantage, I think it's just like overall like great synergy for this deck. And obviously Perulia is really good because it's a water too, so like it just synergizes with the deck really well. So yeah, the Charmies are great in this deck. I would have no complaints about them. And then we have 3 Ash because we want to stop the Charmies, very important. And then we have 3 Imperm. Just a solid hand trap, and it's one of those ones too. They're really good to draw off the Charmies, or they're just good to top deck if you don't see the Charmies because they just trade with Detonator really well, or trade with like the Malice Normal Summon. Like they're fine. There's a world you could cut them realistically and just stick with the high impact hand traps, like our next one, the Impulse, and play closer to 40 cards. But for me, like for the Charmies, like I want to be drawing something that at least like threatens them to like stop them to play, and so these cards are pretty good at doing that. So. I have no complaints about Imperm. If you wanted to play closer to 40, because this list is 44 cards, you could cut the Imperms, and inside the Molten Glacier, and you'd be at a 40-card list, which is fine if you want the added consistency. For me, I've had less consistency issues than a lot of other people have had, and so for me, 44 is fine. But if you want to play 40, that's fine too. You could side the Molten Glacier and cut the Imperms. So we'll go on to the extra deck. Prima Donna, she's kind of what makes the deck go. She obviously recruits the Barrier Statue from your deck, so like that's really important. She's a level 7 tuner, so obviously making Drag Knight's really important in the combo. And like another thing too that a lot of people don't realize is she's only 15 attack, so you can actually use her to lane climb in the Coral Enemy, and then Coral Enemy bring her back, which is really, really great. So like in an ideal world, you could theoretically set up like Dragite and then summon this back with Coral Enemy, and then effect to bring out the Bear Statue, so now they have Imperm specifically for the Prima Donna, you can just negate it, which is great. So then we'll go... Monoceros, again, just works out really well with Grethus. Uses Grethus and Abyss Spike, make this, and then boom, you bring back the Grethus, and now the Grethus effect is live. So, like, that's just really broken. And it's a 7. So, obviously, overlaying this with, like, your Coelacanth to make the Abyss Stripe just keeps your combo going. So, yeah, Monoceros is great. And then Drag Guy, essential piece of the end board. He's a spell trap negate. So like if they had something to deal with your barrier statue, you have this to negate it. So great. Croco Dragon. So when I played this deck initially after the ban list, and everyone was kind of figuring out the combos without Bahamut Shark, I was kind of unsure about this card. But now that I've played the deck more, this card actually is really great because it generates 2 card advantage. And he's also removal for whatever their normal summon might be for the barrier statue. So like having multiple layers of interaction to stop your opponent from getting rid of the barrier statue is like an ideal place to be in. And so for me, a lot of my boards will end up being something like this, the Drag Guy, the barrier statue, the Link 3, and then like a Big Shrine and a heavy infantry in my hands. So like I have like 2 pops, a spell trap negate, and you can't target my stuff. So usually pretty good setup. And then Trish. So Trish is very essential to the combos when you get drolled. Because obviously if you get drolled, you usually don't have a way to minstrel, which means you can't banish a card out of their hand. So with the Trishula, we can banish one out of their grave and another one out of their hands. Which is really cool because now with Minstrel, we have the freedom to just put whatever the weaker card is back in their hand. Instead of having to be forced to put one back in their hand off the Minstrel. And so Trishula is like really good. Like I really like the card. Like even like in the board, sometimes it could be good. Like it's just an overall versatile card, but it's also like needed for a lot of the combos too. So yeah, Trishula's great. And then Chang Ying. So Chang Ying for me usually only comes up again, funny enough, if I get drolled. If I get drolled and have like a 2 or 3 card combo, which seems crazy, but there are a lot of really weird like 2 or 3 card combos in this deck. I mean, it makes sense because it's Mermail. But since you usually don't go for Croco Dragon, you need some form of second removal as to get rid of like whatever their normal summon might be. And so Chang Ying works out really well because if you have a Big Shrine engraved from the Coelacanth, we assume you summon under droll. You can banish the Big Shrine, discard, draw a card, and now your Chang Ying triggers to banish whatever the normal summon is. So yeah, Chang Ying works out really great. And there are like weird game states too against other stuff that where like you can get him big enough to where he can get rid of like whatever big booty monster your opponent might have. So yeah, Chang Ying's great for that purpose. And then for Xyz, we have the Virtue Dragon. Again, essential to the combos now. He just keeps you up on card advantage a lot of time. We don't play Virtue Stream, but again, he's just like really good with the extra level 3 bodies you'll have because you'll end up summoning him off the Poseidra bodies you bring back, or even like the Coelacanth bodies you bring out. So yeah, he's great. A play I like to do a lot of the time is I'll use like Butterfly Fish and another material to make him. And then I'll use this effect to detach the Butterfly Fish to add back like a Dragoons or like a Prince or a Heavy Infantry I had to send off that turn to set up my plays on your opponent's turn. And then now with this, since I detached the Butterfly Fish for a water effect, I could add the Butterfly Fish back to my hand instead. So if I need more discard fire of waters, I have that back in my hand, which is great. And then Abyss Strike, obviously essential for the combos. We don't play any of the cards to set off this card, but the Reborn effect and then just being able to slap the Poseidra on top of her is like good enough that we don't need to do all that. So, Abyss Gaios. Abyss Gaios usually only comes up if you either go complete full combo or you have to go half combo under Fua. So like because of that, he's just very essential to the deck. Fun fact, if you ever play against Regenesis, I learned this the other week, his Floodgate effect is very powerful. You basically just stop all their guys from being able to attack, which is really good in stuff like Fender or like Unicorn. So yeah, Abyss Gaios could be really good. And then for the last 6 Cs, we have Poseidra, which is literally just a custom card. Yeah, really no need to explain like why this card is being played. In fact, there's a world I could see myself playing too, because sometimes you'll use them for the first turn combo, and then turn 3 when you can spam bodies, he's just good to summon another one to remove more of their stuff on the field, so you can ensure that you kill them on the next turn. So he gets a little more expensive to make if you run out of rank 7s, but again, like spamming out 3 level 7s by turn 3 isn't an impossible task. So yeah, Poseidra is just a great card. And then for the links, we have Coral Anemone. Again, just bringing back Water Boys for free is really good. She's really flexible in this deck, and again, just kind of one of those cards that makes the deck work. And then Abyss Keeper. So for those that have not played this deck, Abyss Keeper is primarily in here for when you hard draw the Coelacanth. So you can use the Abyss Keeper to summon it from your hand, and then now you can proceed to do your whole Coelacanth combo, which is great. So yeah, Abyss Keeper is in for that reason. I think I've only used the removal effect of him like once or twice ever. It's very, very rare that it ever comes up. Abyss Lacia, a card that's not like super popular in this deck, but a lot of times on the half board she is very good. Like a play under Fawaz I like to do is like make her and the Abyss Gaios, and sometimes she could just be really annoying to get rid of. So yeah, she's good. she's probably like one of the least used cards in this extra deck, but like I feel like there were enough games to where I was like, man, I really wish I had this card that came up to where I ended up putting the card in my deck. So yeah, she's solid. And then we have the Haggard Lizardos. Again, comes up in some of the combos because sometimes you need to make space for more cards. And Lizardos also just generates you card advantage, which is sometimes just needed for this deck because sometimes you just need more waters to discard. So Lizardos is really good for that purpose. And then lastly, we have the Link 3 Depth Abyss. We did not play the equip spell for this, or any of the equip spells for this for that matter. But the most important thing that he does is basically anything he points to cannot be targeted. So that is basically the piece that makes your end board unbreakable a lot of the time. So needed for that purpose. And then yeah, let's go on to the side deck, which is we have, if I can figure this out, we have 3 Lancia. I hear there's a pretty good card in this format, Stops Malice, so I would like to play the card. So yeah, Lancia is very needed in this format for sure. And then we have 3 Droll and Lockbirds for the other really annoying deck this format. Droll is typically, for me, sided in going first, or if I put it in going second, I will put it in along with the Charmies and take out some lower impact hand trap like Imperm or Ash. Because for me, when I play the Mitsurugi deck, I just want hand traps that are going to be high enough impact to stop my opponent from playing the game entirely. And so for me, I'm confident that if I drop one of this plus like 4 engine cards, I have a good chance against Mitsurugi Raizio. I let myself play the game, which is very important in this format. You want to be able to play the game. And so this card can either just make your like half end boards like, you know, put you in a winning position, or like if you go second, puts you in a position to be able to break the board, which is great. So, and then we have 3 Meows. I think a lot of people play this list opt to play Chaos Hunter, but for like me, Chaos Hunter, like you're not using the body to any advantage, so she kind of sticks there, which is not a bad thing by the way, but like it doesn't make sense to go deck on card advantage and then not trigger your war effects by discarding. Like, why would you want to do that? Whereas for me, like something like Meows, it'll generate you card advantage, which is really good in this deck, and then force the Malice player to end on like a weaker board. And so for me, if I can make the Malice player end on like a half board, and I'm gathering card advantage, I feel pretty confident in the Mermail deck a lot of the time that I can break a half board. And if I don't kill them, I can at least set the Bear Statue lock, and then they don't play turn 3. So yeah, Meows does a really good job for that specific reason in this deck. And then we have 1 Minstrel. Again, just another copy for when we go first. It's very powerful. You just want a hard draw all the time. Playing 2 more copies inside can be kind of overkill, just because you are searching your combo all the time. So, but like you kind of want a hard draw as well. So again, player's choice. Some people play 2, some people play 1. For me, I want to play 1 because I just want the space in my side deck. But that is totally up to you if you decide to build this deck. And then next I have Talents and Call By. Again, really good cards that I could have played in the deck in the main. But for me, like they're just not necessary. And I want to play closer to 40 if I ideally can. So for me, these cards are like really good, specifically going first, but not as good as format going second. And so for me, in the side deck is like a really good spot for these. And then for the last 3 cards, I don't own them, but I haven't borrowed them for locals, is 3 Shadow Imprisoning Mirror, which is my secret tech of this deck. Shadow Imprisoning Mirror is a really good card, specifically in this deck because, surprise, we are like one of the only decks in the format that do not play dark cards, which is really good. But the more important reason being is that sometimes this deck has a really big flawless problem. You don't always necessarily draw the hands to end on half boards to only give them like a few draws or enough non-engine. And so this is one of those cards that where like if they fool you and you can't end on a good board through like a couple draws, or like if they draw you and you don't have a Bishrine, like sometimes the Shadow Imprisoning Mirror can be like your failsafe to save you the game all the time. And so, or like if you have like the Shadow Imprisoning plus like the Bear Statue, you just literally cannot lose the game. Even if they have the Bear Statue, you just Shadow Imprisoning Mirror them. Like I had a game recently at locals where my Memento opponent played Droplet, and basically he had to send like multiple cards just to be able to get rid of like the Bear Statue lock. And he was able to play on the board like okay, but again I had the Shadow Imprisoning Mirror, and like that just saved me the rest of the game. Like he just couldn't play, and so it was very powerful. But it comes up when I've seen the card, it actually just like saves my butt so many times when they do somehow have an out to the board, like a board breaker. Well, actually that'd be multiple board breakers a lot of time, or you know. Like, I have to end on a half board and then somehow, you know, save myself. And so because of that, Shadow Imprisoning Mirror can come in handy a lot of time. So yeah, that's it for the deck list. Again, I really enjoy this deck. I think it's a really good alternative if you cannot play Mouse or Mitsurugi Raizio or pure Mitsurugi for whatever instance. I think it's a really, really good option. You can play Impulse, which is fantastic. And I'm really looking forward to being able to play this at a regional level and see how the deck performs. With that being said, like this video. If this video gets enough popularity, I will go ahead and put up a combo video for you guys and show you how to play this deck like a pro. With that being said, shout out Team WUNAX, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.